Well, it is clear developers are banking on young professionals to live and play in the growing downtown area.
So Fuel Milwaukee's mission is to connect young professionals not only with the social scene, but to just plug them into the community. So today we brought on Executive Director Corey Joe Biddle as well as Sofina Ziyu from Fuel to kind of talk about what you do on a day-to-day to get people plugged in.
Our first job is to get them here to the city. So our partners are the employers throughout the Milwaukee region, and they do the job of recruiting the talent here. So we kind of let them do the 9-to-5 thing, and then once folks are off of work, it's our job to get them connected. So it's about showcasing the city, but it's also about connecting people to each other and giving them a chance to meet each other and fall in love, not just with Milwaukee, but with the other Milwaukeeans here.
Is it a hard sell, though?
Is it a hard sell, Sofina?
No, it's not. It's actually a very natural sell. It comes authentically. For example, it's so easy to, after work, be downtown, go grab a drink after work, great happy hour places to go to, just in the park in the summer, Summerfest, and so many other networking events that you can connect to.
But is the key here to have the jobs? In other words, what's driving, if you've got the jobs, you've got the culture, you've got the entertainment, but what comes first?
I think from our perspective, because we work with recruiters and employers so much, we definitely see that. Just alone, the concentration of Fortune 500 companies that are headquartered in Milwaukee make it a natural fit for millennials, recent grads, knowledge workers to come to these cities.
But when you're talking to people who maybe don't know Milwaukee or Wisconsin, and you're saying, come here, are they saying, Milwaukee? Where?
What?
What?
Sometimes, but that's not always a bad thing. What you don't want them to say is Milwaukee, ill, no.
Right.
And sometimes it's Milwaukee, tell me more. And when they lean into whatever the story is that the recruiter is giving, they're actually telling them quality, real life
I would agree with
amenities
you on that, but what is their current perception? And then do you have to tell them you're missing?
I think a lot of times they don't have a perception.
Right.
I mean, my experience was first time I left Milwaukee, and I'm a native Milwaukeean.
Sure.
I went away to college in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and every time I said I was from Milwaukee, people would say, I didn't know there were black people in Milwaukee. That was the perception they were imagining, that we were living on the set of, Happy Days or Laverne and Shirley, but that's what people's touch point at that point was. Not everyone, but some people had a perception. If you have a perception, it's not hard to overturn it, especially if they visit here.
So let's talk about those millennials who are from Milwaukee. How do you get them to continue to stay plugged in and not leave? That
was your case, right? I mean, you had a chance, you had an option right after coming out of high school and college, and you said you want to be here?
I did. I choose to stay here because I want to invest in the city, because the city, I think, is investing in its young professionals by doing so many things, of a more vibrant downtown, so many other activities that we can do as young professionals. So I think that's what's keeping me here.
Do you look at downtown as affordable living?
I do, compared to my friends who
in the bigger cities? Or,
exactly.
Chicago, right?
Just Chicago, San Francisco, I have friends there, and it's crazy, the comparison to living. So we're comfortable here, and we're growing in such a organic way, and I think that's great.
And you have a unique approach to being from Milwaukee, but from coming to Milwaukee, staying in Milwaukee. But I want to know about the natives who are from Milwaukee and what gets them to stay and not leave.
I mean, that's my case. So we both are like customers of or president and the customer of Fuel. But that was my experience as a native, and I grew up on the north side, went to school. My first jobs were on the north side, and actually I was afraid to come downtown when I interviewed for the job at Fuel 7 years ago, because I didn't grow up driving downtown. I was like, I'm going to go the wrong way on a one-way street. But what we've learned over time, and what I've learned through experience, is that it's all about giving people access and giving them a reason to connect to each other and live in their city in the way that maybe a visitor would.
Is anything missing from the equation? And I'll raise the issue of transportation. I mean, how important is that? Is it available? We hear that millennials don't really have cars or want to have cars. So is the public transportation an issue?
I mean, I think for a lot of millennials that live downtown, maybe some of the ride sharing solved that for a lot of folks, and we enjoy that. I think the piece that is missing is, for a lot of people, when they're being recruited, they're looking for diversity, which our city obviously has, but we are siloed and divided. So I think sometimes when people are socializing and experiencing the city, they do want to see those populations come together. So that's when some of the challenges of the city can line up with the positive rankings, and we get a good look of, okay, this is what we're doing correctly.
Yes.
But there are some natives and some populations here who aren't experiencing the same Milwaukee that Fuel members do every time they come to an event.
So how do you work to make that happen in Fuel with some of those, to bring more diversity into the organization?
Yeah, I think between the both of us, you don't have a better combination of like how to diversify an organization. We're passionate about that because we have our own experiences with being diverse, but it really is a matter of deliberately designing events that appeal to people across the board, from choosing the venues to the music to the speakers to the leaders to the subject matter. They have to see themselves reflected in whatever you're offering for them. And once I think we've done a good job of doing that, and people are really starting to come. We're seeing our events look more and more diverse in our membership too.
Well, hopefully the mayor will give you a call after this show, because I think you guys have been great spokespersons for the city. Thank you very much.